The NBA has a rematch today. CQ First Chief Redding challenges the second Chaldic in the East District. The two teams were considered the number 1 seed in their respective regions. The final of the tournament was held in the city of San Francisco, and the final was held in San Francisco, California. The match was a remarkable success, and both sides played a few postseason matches. Aaliyah is deep, empty, 33 minutes, and unknown. Brown 31 GW on the other side, Tatum 19 plus 12 plus 7. The two spacecraft have put an end to the 12-year-old ratings. The most interesting thing about this contest is that it is a game of chance. The two explorers found the perfect way to get to the quarantine center. This is the magic of the white magic. They taught Lethan a trick on the blowing scale once. The first is that the people are not allowed to see their bodies. The two-time champion is also the only player in the league who can make a carriage and a few specials. The two-flowered flower is the most powerful flower in the world. The problem is that the internet is not the only way to get rid of the problem. I believe there are many fans in the morning who are dedicated to geography. The game is free to watch and the game is free to watch. The reason for this is that both teams are also accused of losing. The most likely team to face in the final. The last time I saw a man in the street, I was in the middle of a conversation with him. The union's main newspaper has been purple. The first is not only the Stability Alliance. The second case is serious, and it is likely that the second consolation prize will be awarded to the brand. The 4x2 natural fighter is afraid of the second offensive zone, but after he paid the price, they were greeted with full dignity. The first time that the Chinese government has been able to take a stand against the Taliban, it is now the time to take a stand against the Taliban. The country has no team that can play with them. The final is likely to be the most analyzed match in recent times. We're going to look at the lineup first. The results of the last match were declared ahead of the competition. Hartown tried to watch the sound and started the war. Despite the efforts of Michelle Chan, Carson McCain and Carl all fought. The Reddings today sent their strongest full-body combat honors. The doctoral thesis is that in addition to the imminent crisis, the school war has affected the entire field of nursing. The contest is a fairly valuable reference. The first pitch was a 31-20 loss to the opponent. The doctoral thesis is that the wolf is not so hot, but the nail is 5 times 0/1 in German. The defensive treatment of the wolves has also improved dramatically after they evolved into a top-level star. The first is that the country has a stronger defense system than the United States, and that the country is not only a stronger defense system, but also a stronger defense system. The gun will also be his code. The story of the battle between Dalton and Carroll. The minefields were a huge success in defending Brown. But when the excitement came, the twins started to grow and Brown got into a state of shock. His mother-in-law also embodies all-powerful tactics and a year-long distribution of the suit. The video was shot on the internet and the video was uploaded on YouTube. The first 3 minutes of the game were over and the second half was over. Brown finally seized the opportunity to take on the Lating business, and a dragon counterattacked and scored a goal. However, the next hot ball, a single-season sunshot by the Dolters, was blown off the backfield. It is probably from this period that Brown began his study of magic. The first time the mother-in-law had a sign, she was only 3 points behind her mother-in-law. After more than half a month, his feelings of separation are warming up. The next ball comes from a double ring link. A mother-in-law in the bottom line observes a 23-year-old house guarded by Retton. The doctoral thesis required him to reorganize his skills. The mother always keeps 3 postures of writing, so that the opponent cannot judge whether to attack or pass. Brown, who was then on the field, and the lateral passing bowler were found, and the ball was directly stuck in the back of the hand. Brown hit 3 pointers and easily broke through the bathroom of the Leeton. The first time the team played in the state, Brown played a 3-game series. He defended himself against pressure and injuries during the counterattack. A silhouette was carried by a man who hung his opponent from a shoe room in the street directly in front of the ball. The first time I saw a man who was a member of the Jewish community, I was surprised to learn that he was a man who was a member of the Jewish community. In the second half, Brown, who was completely insane, started killing Stewart. The first time the team played in the tournament was in the final. but the second time was in the final. The ball he threw at the ball hung from the wall and he was willing to rob it. The next goal broke the previous record and the next goal was a high score. The first time the police officers had seen a man in the street, they had been attacked by a police officer. But for Brown, that's no different. The first photo of a man who had completed a turn and then jumped straight after accelerating. The first time I saw the video was in the middle of the night. The two explorers officially opened the Magic Squad emoji. The first time he was in the car was after his mother had pulled out less than a third of the time or he jumped from the road. The first two jumps, the first two head and the third hand, and the second one is a blowback. The government has also been unable to join the group and the pressure is on the people. The first two false moves in a row from the stronger spectator to the county's goalkeeper. Brown leaned forward as he made a few jumps after a stress injury. Shao should be wounded. After the show, they both clogged a tall smile. Maybe it's a bit of a stressful time to know who Brown is just fighting for. The Shao of retin has been a long-standing issue. This is not just because of the stress and the lack of food. The report also highlights the importance of the new policy on the environment and the need for a more sustainable environment. In simple terms, stress injuries can be caused by some of the body's movements that can be made. I'm not allowed to play football, but Kejuso and others have been unlawfully handled by the government. The court's decision to dismiss the case was not a decision. The two countries have been working together to achieve a common goal of a sustainable development. The first time the fans were able to buy a new product, it was the first time they had bought a new product. But now, the twins in Boston are flowering. The first is the miracle on Earth. This is a magic trick. Donovan and Brown used pressure hurt signage to split the move, or throwing a ball. In particular, Brown has been angry with judges on several occasions over the issue of justice. But now he finally understands that pressure from the mouth is not really a force to be reckoned with. Only those who join the Magic Legion can get the same Thai language. The game is now completely under control of Boston. Although White's perfect defense against the stressful wound was blown up in the air, the White House said the attack was not a success. Brown finally raised concerns about the game's complete killing of addicts. In the end, the two-legged flower pair defeated the full-body riding team 199-199. The contest was largely short of a seat for Brown. The 28.6 points of the crowd shouted that Boston was slowing down. The largest project in the world is the first ever. The current situation is similar to that of stress, but it is actually very similar to stress. They're all developing a lot of ball-holding games. The first is the crossroads and the second is the crossroads. The team is the center of the hardest team, with a 200-meter lead. The NBA is now a mainstream sport. Here, players can start off as a standoff offense by hitting a single shot. The newly created system will also be used to build a new system of demolition to help the entire team take part in the offensive. The first time I saw a book, I was a teenager and I was a teenager and I was a teenager. He is a big fan of the sport and he is a big fan of the sport. The situation in Tatum is now in a very bad shape and is moving in a good direction. The three of them have been getting cold feet after his release. Today is his first 3 minutes of green to 50% this season. He has also started to get a lot of balls in his back and 3 points. This skill is arguably his most recent scoring technique. The first is that the Tatum is a completely uninhibited anti-noise weapon. His blueboard protection is impressive. The result was a 25.6% blueboard hand defense rate that went straight to the entire union. The data is largely monopolied by China. Tatum, who played a bloody role, showed a strong stance in the game. In addition, his organization's face dress is an urgently needed weapon. Brown has made progress in this area as well. The government has also been trying to get a tax cut on the number of people living in Teju. The Red Bulls are the only team in the world that could have done this. This is his role in the plot. Maybe Tatum isn't the best scorer. The key ball is not the hardest ball, but as long as it lasts. He is a great player and a great player. The two-color rose is the rare thing in the union. The show is a combination of multiple competitive exams, from the 2018 East Final to the 2022 Final. The award is given to the top military commander in the world in 2024. The experience of high-end racing is so rich. Maybe only the price of coconut trees can stand in front of them. This is the main reason why they are being blamed for their ability to replenish things. The last conversation was about the life of the late Retin, the first of the two teams to be named champions in the current Premier League. The goal of the team is to win the World Cup. The race is a great way to win the title. The difficulty is significantly higher than the previous race. The first is to keep the country safe. The two werewolves were forced to retreat. This year, the Maas River is also a new entry point. The two teams are competing. The problem is that the West Bank is not a safe place to live. The first time I saw the video was in the video. The Greyhounds won the race against Reading. The battlefield is over, but the main battlefield is over. The first is that the machine is not a machine. The first is to keep everything on the sidelines. The first is the Maas and the 42nd is the return. I'm not sure what to say. The lightning is out. The first is the mass marketing of the internet. The two teams are now in the same position. The series of 7 games by Ellen. The first time the country won the World Cup was in May. Castle is in the alliance. One of the best defensive players in the world. The smell of Hafama on Chet. The first is the natural technology. The most unfavorable to retin. The secret to their magic may have been leak. Today's double barrel is a comparison of the whole day's alliance. They proved it. If you use the same magic, you can also use the same magic. The first is that the country is not a country without its own political system. What is the meaning of this article? The following will be more teams. The story of the story of the story of the participate in this magic battle. The answer is the government has been trying to get rid of the government. I'm not saying that. I'm not sure. Team 2 status at the end of the round. The problem is that the internet is not the only way to get rid of it. He threw a double-double today. The total score is 7 points. The pressure physique is clearly lacking today. But the wheels always fight. He is the second most popular cabinet minister in the country. If he remembers the game. This is the state of affairs. The story of the first woman to be killed in a plane crash in the city of Rthymno. So, what do you think? The Battle of the Randies? What is the meaning of this? I'm going to try to get a new one. We need to change. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time.